Hello fellow internet friends, Future Drew currently speaking in the middle of filming my Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness spoiler review. I have to be honest, I had a little bit of a rookie error and the start of my spoiler-free review had really bad mic quality, so I completely had to cut it out. I only realised it when I was looking back on it. So I'm here in the future telling you in the present that this video is coming out a little bit late because a lot of things kind of got in the way. My dear friend, whose stag party was the weekend that The Batman came out, which meant I didn't actually get around to seeing that, he had his wedding the weekend that Doctor Strange came out, so this video got delayed by quite a bit. Needless to say though, even though I'm convinced he's out to get me with the timings of his social engagements and private life, this is me now introing the video for you in the present from the future, so I'm going to do a little bit of Doctor Strange magic-y hands and snap you back into the present, and with that, let's get into it! Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe movie to be released after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange did play an integral part in that, in kind of breaking down the barriers of the multiverse. And now the multiverse, as we know it, is a prevalent part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Doctor Strange is slap bang in the middle of it. And in this movie, he sets out to protect the life of one America Chavez, aka Miss America, aka one-time Young Avenger. Now, she is a young girl that has multiversal powers, which means she can basically punch holes in the multiverse and travel from one universe to another, and her powers have caught the attention of some pretty significant characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's where Doctor Strange comes in. Now, one thing I will say is I'm not going to cover too much in the way of spoilers. I myself have spent the entire time leading up to me actually watching this film dodging spoilers like Neo dodging bullets in The Matrix. So I'm not going to go over too much stuff that hasn't been covered in the trailers. Now, a lot of people have been saying that in order to understand Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, there are a lot of other things from Marvel that you have to have seen first in order to understand the concept of it. You need to have seen Doctor Strange. You need to have seen WandaVision. You need to have seen Marvel's What If animated series, and you need to have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. If you are a Marvel fan, you are likely to have already seen those series and films. If you are a fair weather fan, maybe you have seen a couple of those, in which case, again, you have a grasp of it. And anything that you haven't seen out of those, if you do watch them, fine, icing on the cake. If you are not a Marvel fan, and for whatever reason you have been dragged to see this film, do not worry, because essentially a lot of what you need to know for this film is actually going to get covered. And if you're sat there lost halfway through, then maybe this isn't the film for you. But if I did have to pick some important ones out of that list, I would say WandaVision is a good one to watch because it's a really good series. It keeps you interested for the entirety of the series. And Spider-Man No Way Home, because yes, that does introduce into the main cinematic universe the concept of a multiverse, and more importantly, the knock-on effects of dabbling with the multiverse and what that can lead to. Now, without going into too many spoilers, because I feel like it does help if you don't know too much going into the movie, even though, for all intents and purposes, the things that I was trying to avoid as far as spoilers went for this film, not overly consequential to the ongoing timeline, as I thought they might be. So, I don't know. More fool me, I suppose. But what I will say is that after having watched WandaVision, and at the end of that series, there being a lot of rumours about her coming up in the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness film, I did look at that piece of news and I went, cool. I don't think she's gonna be a good guy. I mean, yes, Wanda is a great character and she is desperately flawed in her character traits, and WandaVision as a series is an amazing look at the consequences of trauma and PTSD, and it is someone dealing with grief, which is fantastic. Doesn't always mean that people get over that grief. But moving swiftly on, it would be remiss of me not to mention that this film is directed by Sam Raimi, who is probably in my list of top directors. Not only did he direct the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire-Man, as I now like to refer to him as, now that we actually have to differentiate between Spider-Men, but he also directed one of my favourite films of all time in the form of Evil Dead 2. Sam Raimi, by nature, is a horror film director. When I heard that he was directing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and after James Wan directed the original Doctor Strange movie, both of which are affiliated with horror films, my mind immediately went, great! This is going to be way less like Spider-Man and way more of a horror film. And a lot of it may well be horror-centric, and we did see a little bit of that from the trailer. Now, are there some themes that happen in this film that are typical Sam Raimi moments? Hell yes, there are. And I can point them out as well, because there are some Sam Raimi crash zooms that happen. There are some stalking POV moments where someone is being followed by an unseen entity. Again, very Evil Dead 2. There is a lot of stuff that happens with eyes in this film. Eyes appear out of nowhere. There's a lot of eye gore that happen. Damn, Sam Raimi really likes stuff to do with eyes. And I think one of the things that I most heavily noticed is that I think people have forgotten exactly how much you can get away with a 12A rating. There are some things that happen in this film that are quite shock value, do have a lot of gore, and maybe aren't appropriate for younger audiences. No! Now, obviously, it has been mentioned that there are some really big cameos that happen in this movie. Some significant characters appear, and as we saw in the trailer for this, they are part of the Illuminati, a council of superpowered individuals who are in charge of controlling a lot of the events to do with other superpowered beings, perhaps throughout the multiverse, but in this case maybe limited to the universe that they are specifically in. Now, what that actually means is that the universe that has the Illuminati are lacking in things like S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Avengers or the Defenders, anything like that. It's one big unified thing in the form of the Illuminati. And yes, there are some names and characters that appear in this scene that are of significant value to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, did these cameos actually deliver, or was this build-up and hype? In all honesty, I'm kind of on the fence. I really liked seeing the cameos from the characters that appeared, because when they appeared on the screen, that was me going, oh my god, this changes a lot of what I thought was gonna happen. This is a really big deal. And then the other part of me, which is admittedly the more skeptical part of me, was kind of going, I don't know how much consequence this is going to have. I feel like this isn't the film that is going to make major steps in shaking things up. Although I do have to say, and this was my problem with the first Doctor Strange movie, and a couple of other appearances that Doctor Strange has had, Doctor Strange has been drastically depowered in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Okay, it is made very clear in this film that he is not the Sorcerer Supreme at the moment. Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange got flipped out of existence for 5 years because of Thanos. However, in comics canon, Doctor Strange is meant to be one of the most significantly powerful people on the planet. And Doctor Strange in this film isn't even the most powerful person in his own movie. Doctor Strange's kid sidekick America Chavez has more power than he does. And sure, I understand that if he was that powerful, he'd just be able to go, oh, there's an enemy, wipe, and then that would be the end of that chapter. But it's not the case. I just find it funny that his powers are kind of limited to what we've already seen him do, and there isn't a whole lot of learning or extension from that, except until maybe like right at the end. So, with that in mind, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness gets 3.5 stars from me. It's a perfectly good film. It's a really good addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's by far not the worst addition. I definitely like this a lot more than the first Doctor Strange movie. This one, however, I found way more interesting, and there are a lot of dynamics between Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff that happened throughout the film, which I will probably talk about in a spoiler video now, because I do think it really does need its own video, because oh boy, if you're trying to avoid them, then good luck to you. But this is me personally helping you avoid the spoilers for it. Yes, you are welcome. So, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? What was your favourite alternative universe that they went to in this film? What other characters were you expecting to see cameos of? And are you happy with what you got out of this film, or were you left wanting more? All comments are welcome in the comments section below. Let's talk nerdy. Don't forget, we are still releasing our podcast, Back to the Review Chat, available on all podcast platforms. If you haven't listened yet, go ahead and give it a listen. If you have listened to it, go ahead and give it a rating and subscribe and tell all your friends about it. As always, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here and you would like to see some more, you can click right here to subscribe and see some more funky, fresh videos from yours truly. And until that point, I wonder if I concentrate really hard and make the right hand motions, I can just teleport out of here. No, definitely no magic in these fingers. Well, I mean, not the kind that you're thinking of.